Greetings from our nation's capital. Last week, we reviewed ACPA's legislative efforts here in Washington, D.C. This week, we'll focus a bit on our policy efforts. As with our legislative engagements, policy efforts are carried out by senior staff members of the association under the direction of ACPA's Legislative Issues Steering Committee. Just like with our legislative activities, hired consultants, strategic coalitions, and our strong ties with PCA are important elements of this part of our D.C. initiative. From a broad perspective, we support good governance and stewardship provisions in federal highway and airport authorizations, and we stay focused on the related issues that impact our members. Some examples include advocating for and advancing concepts like life cycle cost analysis, inter-industry competition, asset management, as well as resilience. We initiated a significant effort in 2016 asking FHWA to enforce its own federal competition requirements. Using a legislative and regulatory review, ACPA made the case that existing federal policy already requires states to consider alternative combinations of materials as well as life cycle cost, but that many states do not consider either. The failure of USDOT and FHWA to follow their own policy and capitalize on the substantial monetary benefits that these good governance tools could provide is, in our view, costing taxpayers several $billions every year. Even though we have not seen FHWA send clarifying guidance to the states yet, the effort has raised the visibility of this issue considerably and brought the concept of inter-industry competition into prominent view for both federal and state policymakers and lawmakers. Our efforts will continue, and we are currently coupling them with a new marketing and communications campaign which will elevate the issue even higher. We also routinely influence and shape agency technical guidance and policy in a variety of ways. For example, ACPA directly influenced the development of FHWA technical advisory on alternate bidding, resulting in guidance that puts concrete on level footing with asphalt. We also compelled FHWA to perform a pavement design policy review in 2018. This review included a series of listening sessions and peer exchanges across the U.S. and will likely culminate in a proposed rulemaking, or NPRM, later this year. In the sustainability arena, our direct and vocal engagement has ensured that use phase impacts such as longevity, albedo, stiffness, etc. are no longer ignored in pavement lifecycle assessments and FHWA guidance, partly by leveraging and amplifying the outstanding work done at MIT's Concrete Sustainability Hub. On the airfield paving front, we also influence and shape FAA and military technical guidance and policy in numerous ways. As an example, upward of 80% of ACPA's red line comments on FAA's P501 concrete specification were adopted by FAA, mitigating various arduous requirements and reducing ambiguities that had the potential to create conflicts during concrete airfield construction. Additionally, our seat on FAA's REDAC subcommittee on airports, held by Gary Mitchell, allows direct input into FAA research oversight for a variety of critically important projects, including FAA's Extended Payment Design Life Initiative and inclusion of LCCA as part of the design procedure. We are also vigorously pursuing an FAA policy change related to the adoption of OMB recommended discount rates rather than using a fixed 7% when conducting LCCAs for airfields. Finally, we often respond to proposed federal rulemakings relevant to our industry and sometimes even petition federal agencies when necessary. Recent examples include our comments on FHWA's performance measures and asset management rules, our petition to FMCSA for an hours of service exemption, which was granted in February 2019, our official review of FHWA guidance in April 2019, and most recently, the CISA and FHWA petitions for essential critical infrastructure worker designation this past April at the beginning of the pandemic. So there are plenty of matters for ACPA to engage in on your behalf here in DC. We do so strategically, getting directly involved in specific industry issues and supporting coalitions for the larger issues like infrastructure funding. We've been quite successful using this efficient and tailored approach. That concludes our brief overview of ACPA's policy engagements here in Washington, D.C. on your behalf. As always, thank you for your continued support and commitment to our concrete pavement industry. Until next week, be well, do good, and stay safe.